What's going on, you guys? My name is Cisco.
And joined as a rare treat, it's Boaz.
Yep, and today we are going to be doing the Range Talk podcast. As you guys saw from the title, is Airsoft useless? Now, I kind of threw Boaz into this topic, but we're going to be talking about how Airsoft is used outside of the traditional gameplay, skirmish style airsofting, right? Because I don't know if you know this statistic, but majority of airsofters, at least in America, or not airsofters, but airsoft gun owners in America, don't play airsoft.
Yeah, not in a traditional sense. No, yeah. So I think because of how I think majority in the United States, there aren't that many airsoft or paintball fields, especially out in like the middle of America.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so because of that, a lot of people, they like the concept of airsoft. They like airsoft guns, but they mostly they relegate it to like just playing around in the backyard.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like I know when we went on our road trip to Texas, what was that, last year or 2021? 2021 we went on a road trip, right? We drove through New Mexico, and some of the guys on social media were like, "Hey, come through to our field," and it was like way north of the route that we were taking, so we couldn't make it there. But yeah, it's actually really surprising to see, because online, when you look up airsoft, you see a lot of the social media airsofters that put gameplay footage out, and they're relatively close to their fields, especially if they're based in like California, like just the Southern California area, saturated with fields. And we have that privilege, but a lot of places don't have the privilege of getting to go out and play. So I believe you and Isaiah talked in a podcast before how how you could try to start playing airsoft in an area where you don't have a field. But majority of airsoft gun owners don't play airsoft, which is actually it's surprising to hear as an airsofter, but I do think it makes a lot of sense, because I do see a lot of older folk get airsoft guns just to play around with, because there's one regular that we have in the store, Howard. Shout out to Howard if he ever watches this video.
What a guy.
I know.
What a guy.
He told me that he used to do reenactments of different things with like prop firearms. And then he found airsoft, and he uses it just to plink around in the backyard and uses them as collector's pieces, which is really cool. And he likes the mechanics of them, and he likes how they operate. And just from my knowledge of him and what he likes to tinker around with them. But he said that he doesn't think he would ever hit the field. He's not that old, but he is a little bit older where he thinks he can't play. But I told him he should just go out anyways. But yeah, it's very interesting. Do you know anybody that just plinks around, boss?
I know a couple people, you know. I mean, like even like on the internet, like not to really name drop, but like you know, even someone like what's his name, Airsoft Fatty.
Oh yeah,
right. Like his primarily like a plinker. Like he doesn't really go out there to play airsoft on the field. Yeah. You know, like he's very content with just taking an airsoft gun and just taking it out to his backyard when he used to have one. Yeah. And yeah, and he would just plink around. Hey, if you're watching, Airsoft Fatty, I really want to collab with you, but with their whole situation, you know, like my heart does go out to you. So if you're watching, reach out to us. I want to collab with you. I want to make a follow-up documentary with you. It'll be sick.
You know, we did try to collaborate with him back.
Yeah, but it was bad timing. Like it was there was stuff going on. Apparently, like he hired like some kind of manager.
Yeah,
for his social media, and like it got really bad and toxic and stuff. And then he had some like family things happen, like personal life stuff. So I think we timed it. Unfortunately, we just ended up timing it bad.
Yeah, timing just didn't work out for us. But shout out. But yeah, no, it's actually really surprising, because like even though there's a lot of backyard plinkers, majority of airsoft guns that are sold are going to be AEGs, and aesthetically, they are a one-to-one to their real firearm counterpart. Like the MGC4 here is like one-to-one with a real AR-15, right?
Yeah. So it is true one-to-one spec. I think there's a little like slight differences. I think when it comes to spec, because you have to fit like some things like a motor and a gearbox.
Oh yes,
I think, but when it comes to at least like the size, like if you give a regular person, like if you hand them one of these and you don't tell them it's an airsoft gun, most likely they're gonna think it's the real thing.
Unless they're educated with real firearms, because then they're, if they know like proper gun safety, they're gonna try to like chamber check it and everything, make sure it's proper.
No, I'm just saying like just like the first, like you just give it to them to hold,
Yeah,
they're gonna be like, oh shoot, is that a real gun? And then maybe like what you said, if they know about real guns, and they'll inspect it and be like, oh no, it's not a real gun, but I'm saying like at first glance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But honestly, I'm surprised that AEGs are the main plinker compared to gas blowback rifles and pistols. Now, gas blowback pistols are definitely much more affordable to get into. So I'm surprised these aren't being used a lot more for plinking.
But I thought our sales metrics indicate that we sell way more pistols.
We do. As of this year, actually, we have sold a lot more pistols than we have rifles. Specifically, the Pit Viper and the Sand Viper.
Given,
and I do believe, John Wick 3, or was it John Wick 3 or 4?
John Wick 4 is with the Pit Viper.
Yeah, John Wick 4 is the reason for it. But I think just because if you are backyard plinking, you do get a little bit more, how do I phrase this? I think a more fun experience, right?
Yeah, but also I think a lot of times people that end up buying airsoft guns, especially because of how they're priced, a lot of them are going to want to do their research. And I think at the end of the day, the reason why AEGs are so popular is because the maintenance cost is so low.
I get that.
So, like having a gas blowback gun like this delicious Tokyo Murray MWS, which I also own personally. It is a ton of fun. I've been an avid gas airsofter for a while now.
Yep.
But the cost of let's say green gas, or if you really want to risk it for the biscuit, get that propane adapter and run propane, right? Like the gas gun itself has a lot more moving parts, so you have to maintain them more.
Yep.
And the risk of things breaking. I think a lot of times people. With like a quick Google search, should I get a gas or an electric airsoft gun? I think most of the time people on the internet would side with getting an electric one.
Yeah.
Because all you need is a battery and some BBs and you're good.
I get that. I mean, when talking to a customer, especially if they're getting started into airsoft, I would recommend them 9 times out of 10 an AEG, just for the ease of use. But I mean, maybe they're getting it in the sense like they just want something to mess around with, and they didn't dive in deep enough to find gas blowback rifles yet.
No, I think it's out there, because at the end of the day, like if someone like looks up like beginner airsoft videos, they do touch on it. They do touch on their spring power, electric, and like even when I was trying to get into airsoft, right?
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, like that's what I would Google. That's what I would look up on YouTube. And so like I would have really loved one of these. Not that I could afford it either, right?
Yeah.
Like a price of even like just like an okay, like something like the MWS. This is like an exceptional quality, gas blowback system. But even if I was to get into something like what we consider like a mid-tier system,
yeah,
right? Like, should I name drop?
Go ahead.
Personal opinion. Yeah. So stuff like some entry level like Western Arm System guns,
Yep.
or like a WE. Like WE is probably what I consider mid tier, because you have to do a lot of work to it.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So even to do that, it's so much more expensive.
Valid.
Versus getting, well, not this, because again, this is like a higher end model.
Yeah.
But my first real airsoft gun was the G&G Combat machine.
Oh,
back in its heyday, when that was like the thing to get for beginners, right? I got it on a Christmas sale here at Airsoft GI for $100.
$100 flat?
Yeah, I got it for $100. Yeah, which was nutty, which is great, because that's all the money I had anyway.
Yep.
So I got that minus the battery. Now that was my first airsoft gun, right?
Yep.
So compared to that versus you paying like $300 plus for an okay, like a mid, gas blowback rifle. I mean, there's not much of a comparison. Most people, they're not going to want to make that investment.
I get that
out the gate, unless it's pistol, right? Because pistols will cost just as much as a entry-level AEG,
Yep.
right? But with the gas pistol, you get the same like realistic, blowback action. So like people like it. Oh, the recoil, it's cool.
Yep.
So, yeah. So yeah, like even growing up, even when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I had friends that had family members who just owned like gas blowback airsoft pistols just to mess around with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. But speaking of like the gas blowbacks and stuff, another thing that airsoft is definitely used for is actually real firearms training. Now, this is something that Boaz and I have been talking about for the longest time. And we even did like a small campaign in like 2020, 2021, where we had Steve Wang, shout out to Steve Wang, a real firearms competition shooter, come out and talk about how he uses airsoft to practice. Even when we went to Terran Tactical, Terran Butler talked about how he would use airsoft as well, just to get some manipulation on it. And that's actually really cool, especially since we saw a lot of the quote unquote gun tubers, the gun YouTubers, like start talking about how they use airsoft and they even attend MILSIM events, which is super sick. Like I'm honestly really sad that we missed some of the events that they attended because like
I've attended.
Well, you did
quite a few of those events.
Do you remember I think it was an American MILSIM event. Who was there? Travis Haley, Milspec Mojo, T-Rex Arms.
Yeah.
Was Grantham out there too?
Grantham, Administrator, like pretty much all the hot.
Yeah, pretty much all the big ones. And it's really cool to see that they are using airsoft to train. But I do think they were using AEGs for the rifles. But even then, of course, they're going to have like gas blowback pistols. Boaz, would you like to shoot this gas blowback Glock 17 Gen 4?
Oh, Gen 4? Why shoot the Gen 4? I have a Gen 5. Why would I do that?
So as you guys can see, this gun does cycle like the real firearm counterpart. The slide does move every time you pull the trigger, loading the next BB in there. Slide. Yeah, and slide locks back. It doesn't have the same trigger break or blowback feeling, the recoil, but it does give you the basic manipulation of the gun. So even some type of response. And I remember, who was I talking to? I was talking to someone where when you are using a gas blowback pistol, compared to dry firing a real firearm where you're just racking the slide, pulling the trigger, you're still getting the same break, but you're not getting some type of response from the gun other than the break.
Yeah.
So by using a gas blowback pistol, you're able to expect, not predict. You don't want to try to predict and anticipate like recoil on a real firearm, but you expect it to happen because it's being ingrained in you almost like muscle memory. So you are used to the feeling. Even for gas blowback rifles, again, the Tokyo Marui MWS available at airsoftgi.com, you get full manipulation of a real AR-15 in airsoft form. So I'm gonna pop a few shots off. See, like, you get the instantaneous response. Again, it's nothing like a real AR-15, but you do get some type of feedback into the shoulder. You do have the sound, the break of the trigger that allow you to get a better hands-on training compared to just sitting on your couch manipulating your real AR.
So I know Cisco talked at length about the dry fire and the benefits of using airsoft for dry fire, but actually, if I could speak on my experience, airsoft is actually being adopted more widely now, or starting to become more accepted amongst more serious groups, I guess you would say, for what we call like force-on-force training.
Yep.
So I do work alongside with KWA. So KWA, they're actually really big on selling their guns and gear to different law enforcement agencies and certain military units.
Okay.
So that's actually where KWA makes most of their money. They actually don't make most of their money through consumer, like the market.
Through airsofters?
Yeah, the commercial market, recreational market, through airsofters.
Okay.
They actually make most of their money through selling their equipment to, again, law enforcement agencies and different military units. So I don't know if you guys remembered in my video like some time ago where I got to go to KWA's HQ and I was able to shoot the F90, the not the AUG.
Yeah.
So that not the AUG is literally the official training rifle for the Australian military.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you can imagine how many of those that they sold to the Australians, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, like even the East Coast, I think they were saying something about like a good majority of the East Coast, like the majority of police departments use their airsoft guns to train.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so my role with KWA when I work with them is that they take me along to a lot of these different conventions and trade shows, I guess you will. Something like, I guess you would say something similar to something like SHOT Show.
Yeah.
Where you have a bunch of potential buyers. So KWA does follow, like, they have some kind of like, they are compliant to some kind of contractor style thing. I can't really get too much into it. So it allows them access. It gives them access to a lot of these trade shows.
Yeah.
Where there are a lot of potential buyers, potential people that represent certain agencies or certain units. Yeah, they're walking around looking at, you know, different gear, pieces of equipment, stuff that they could adopt, you know, to help further their unit's capability.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do end up talking with a lot of different sheriff departments, different police departments, different agencies, and so they ask us like, hey, like, so what are these things? And so we when we tell them airsoft, the first thing they do is you know, they go like, you know, like, you mean those toy guns? Like, yes, but let me explain. You know, so I tell them, okay, well, like, how much do you think for force-on-force training, meaning you can't use real guns, so if you want to do something where you can, you know, get a group of guys and then grab your guys and train with each other,
yep,
how much you think that will cost on average? And they're like, oh, well, you know, like the simunition that we use is like X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
And you know, we have to go to the shoot house that we have to, like, you know, do and stuff. And some of these actually don't have any of that. They're like, oh, we're considering doing simunition, right?
Okay.
And stuff like this. Okay, so this is how much, you know, 1,000 rounds of simunition will cost you, which is going to last you X amount of time.
Yep.
All right. Plus, you have to build a shoot house that is rated, right, that is built to standard to safely house or safely run these training events with UTM or simunition. Because if you don't know, UTMs hit really hard.
Really?
So you can't, so you can't just use like regular like plywood and like particle board. Like sometimes like it'll punch through and stuff like that. You know, like there's a lot of safety when it comes to that. And then finally they ask you like, sometimes they'll ask you like, oh, what's the pain penalty? So like how bad does it hurt, right? Like with simunition, like, oh, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
You know, like it might. You know, for some people, like, it might even discourage them from continuing to train, which is, you know, like, it's counterproductive. Yeah. So when I introduce airsoft to them, okay, look, this fires 6mm projectiles, right, BBs, and we can literally give you like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, you know, rounds for like a fraction of the cost.
Yeah.
At UTM, and then
absolutely.
And then when it comes to the UTM rifles and stuff, or the simunition rifles, like either you modify existing rifles that they have,
yep,
which like that's going to take time and money to do, right? And it has to get certified, like safety, so make sure that, you know, you don't end up like accidentally loading live rounds into it, right? Yep. And then they have to also get maintained. There's a lot of maintenance that goes into it, right?
Oh yeah.
But with the airsoft guns, with KWA airsoft guns, you don't really need that much maintenance. Even with their gas pistols or gas system, like, it doesn't really need much. Yeah. And so we just say, hey, we'll give you a case, like we'll literally sell you a case of like 5 rifles, 5 pistols, like 5 magazines for each, you know, like a fraction of the cost. Yeah. You know, when we give them these numbers, they're like, oh, that's it? And I tell them the best part is, yeah. And the best thing is that, like, you could literally take this to, like, you could use this like at your police academy. You don't need a special room, like you don't need a special house. Yeah. Like you could do this like at a gym if you wanted to. You can do this at like, you know, a warehouse. Yeah. Or something like that. You know, you can do that and not have to risk or worry about, you know, breaking stuff around you. Yeah. And it's very repeatable. You can do this over and over again. And so that's kind of the side that I come from as far as when it comes to like airsoft for training, is that the concept of force on force training, like, you know, you shooting at another person for training, you know, that concept has become a lot more popular. Yeah. And so obviously, you know, like the whole simunition thing became like a real big thing, but you have to understand that a lot of these departments, a lot of these agencies don't necessarily have the budget to sustain that kind of stuff. And so a lot of times that kind of training, that simunition, that kind of force on force training was only really relegated to like their top tier units, like SWAT teams or like, 3 alphabet boy agencies and stuff like that. you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, or even like, special forces and stuff like that, right? But having something like Airsoft, where it's so cheap compared to like simunition, right? Including all the infrastructure that's included, that you have to build with it, is a fraction of the cost. So now everyone can start doing it. Smaller departments can start doing it. So that's kind of what we've been pushing for the past like year and a half, 2 years now. When it comes to the training, is that force on force element of it.
Yeah, no, I get that. We actually have a regular at the California store who is a instructor and trainer for LA SWAT, and he was like, yeah, we use Airsoft a lot more than simunition, and we're able to use it at places where we wouldn't be able to normally. Like, he was telling me how they did training at a real theater, and they didn't have to get any special permits, or actually I think he told me that he wasn't even able to go in there with simunition because it would destroy like a lot of the stuff. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. But being able to use Airsoft, there's a lot less energy in it, so you don't have to worry about damaging a lot more stuff. Even though it can be dangerous, it's not as dangerous, and
it leaves way less of a mess. You don't have shell casings, and because simunition, a lot of it is like, it's basically like a high power paintball, right? Like there's it leaves paint everywhere, so it leaves a mess.
Exactly.
And Airsoft, it's just BBs, chalk paint, whatever they choose to load in.
There's some type of residue left over.
It makes a mess.
But on top of that, you also get to, dang, I just lost my train of thought. Dang it. You also, this is what I'm saying, you also get to do the force on force training. Like you said, it's getting a lot more popular, and I think that is very beneficial, especially for someone who is in law enforcement or some military branch or whatever, because traditional training, you're going through a shoot house and shooting at paper targets. You have to ID the target, but there's an extra layer when you're actually going up against another team or another person. They're reacting to you. They're shooting back at you.
Or they're gonna run away, hide or something. You can't do that with a paper target. It'll stand still. And so there's a lot of So that's kind of the market that I think Airsoft is going to eventually start to dominate, because people are going to start to realize like, hey, like this is so much cheaper. Therefore, it's way more repeatable. So like, if an agency, if some kind of organization were to choose between simunition and Airsoft, right? And let's say like with all the infrastructure and all like the ammo and maintenance costs of simunition, they can only really afford to do it maybe like once or twice a year, let's say, right? With the unit, versus with Airsoft, you can do it 5, 6, 7, 8 times a year. Like, what would you rather choose, right? But I think a lot of times people will value the higher the repeatability, the higher reps, right? So if they were offered a choice to, hey, like you want to do this like 8, 9, 10 times a year, versus simulation you only do once or twice a year, I think most people would want to choose, right, to train more often. And in fact, I think from what I heard is that there are a decent amount of Southern California police departments also use KWA to
actually train. I believe that.
Yeah.
I do believe that as well. And I'm glad to see that KWA is able to do that, and because with like their line, they're predominantly known for their gas blowback line, and having that manipulation and them being local too, like especially with the community down here, they can easily help maintain, replace, repair parts.
So when we sell these packages to these agencies, right? Like we offer them a choice. We're like, hey, like you can get something like an electric rifle, right? That is way easier to maintain. It's not gonna behave like the real thing. I mean, they have like their T10, Ronin, and other similar styles of guns where you have to like has like the electronic cutoff and stuff, but it's and a little bit of recoil. Right? But it's not really gonna mimic anything like a real firearm. But some departments like it because they're like, hey, like we don't want to have to worry about like fixing it or maintaining it. We just want to plug a battery and go. So it makes sense for them. And some other departments are like, yeah, like we would love to use something more like this, like a gas blowback system, where you have to actuate the bolt catch and all this stuff. And they're okay with like learning, or because KWA educates, they have like this little tech program.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that they can train like their armors or whoever the department or agency like nominates. And they can learn how to do basic maintenance on an airsoft gun.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Dang. So KWA is even helping teach them as well.
Yeah, but I think the kicker though is when I was talking with KWA is that they actually do not want to monopolize the training space.
Okay.
They actually really want, more companies to start focusing on that. To focus
good.
on that. Yeah, because they want the competition.
Yeah.
They want the competition so that way everyone will be, forced to basically release better and better and more tailor-made products for So that way if there are more companies coming out with airsoft products to specifically train for, airsoft as a whole, like within the whole training space, will become more respected. So now like when people ask, are those airsoft guns over there, and we say yes, and we don't want them to do the anymore. We want to go, oh sweet, we love using airsoft to train. We want to get it to a point where in that professional training space that becomes that much more respected.
And just following up with what I said earlier, I see a lot of, especially when the pandemic happened, we saw the increase of people who wanted to learn how to shoot guns and used airsoft to do so, because at that time guns were either really expensive or they weren't available, and ammo was the same way. Versus airsoft, we had a good amount at that time because we still had like shipments coming in before the all the problems that of the supply chain right now. But a lot of people were using it to train with, and we talked to quite a few different real firearm shooters who use airsoft as a training tool, and then got to use it as a form of a hobby as well. And that's actually really cool to see, because those are just more airsofters. So what else? What else can airsoft be used for outside of real firearms training and backyard plinking?
So I think to piggyback off of what you said about our buddies who are pro or competitive shooters, is that airsoft actually is starting to become used as its own platform for competitive shooting, right?
Oh, actually, absolutely.
Yeah, like our buddy Stephen Wang, who is a pro shooter. He works with a lot of, I guess you would say, top tier like gear companies, as a sponsor. So he works with like companies like Safariland, and so they actually send him on business trips and stuff overseas. And stuff. And during that time, he actually wants to still compete. He wants to still keep his chops. So when he's out there overseas, a lot of those countries that he visits don't allow real firearms. Right, for recreational use, and so. Those countries, they started picking up airsoft. Right? So he basically just plays airsoft as a competitive sport, like not to shoot each other, but like target shooting, like competitive target shooting. While he's there overseas. And even here, right? Like, I know locally, I don't know how well they do this, how often they do this anymore, but I remember even back in the day, Tac City, they had they had a competitive shooting event.
I do remember that. They had it for different categories. They did like a pistol only one, a shotgun only one. Then they did like a 3-gun one,
rifle, and then a 3-gun.
And they do that actually overseas as well. But they've been doing that for a while actually, because what Boaz said, real firearms aren't able to be owned in those other countries. So they use airsoft as a competition sport, which is actually really cool to see. And even in like Asia, where it's actually really hardcore from what I've heard. I heard that a lot of the top shooters out there actually use unicorn barrels. But I also heard like they'll replace their barrels after like 10,000 shots. I'm like, what? Well, it makes sense because a lot of the magic and a lot of these inner barrels, there will be a video coming out soon, by the way, where I explain all this. So a lot of the accuracy and stuff from the barrels actually at the end of the day will come from the coating. So a lot of high-end barrel manufacturers, including Unicorn, they polish the crap and they lap the crap out of their barrels, which makes it smooth. But to keep it smooth, they coat it.
to reduce friction with some kind of chemicals and stuff. So that way, you'll have reduced friction and give you more accuracy and yada yada. So, yeah, I mean, after a certain amount of shots, that coating is gonna start to wear out. So it would only make sense. But yeah, like majority of the internal components of your airsoft guns, come or derived from the needs of those competitive shooters overseas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So a lot of these competitive shooters, they want their guns to be more accurate, more lightweight, more like snappier, or all the stuff. Yeah, and then because the market demands it overseas, they have companies that just start making the stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then it trickles down into the U.S., where we get all our Gucci airsoft stuff. So all the high cap stuff. Like companies like Garter, Nine Ball, like Laylax, Prometheus, and who else?
Masterpiece,
yeah. Cow. Yeah, all those companies, right? They make it for competitive airsofters, like first and foremost, right? And then we get whatever's left.
Yeah. It eventually funnels into the U.S. market, but yeah, it's actually really cool to see that that's taken very seriously. And you don't see it too often, at least in Southern California. I don't remember the last time Tax City ran that event. Do you remember?
I don't know. I haven't stepped foot in Tax City in a very long time. It's not my cup of tea.
He likes Milsim.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I was at Tech City, it wasn't too bad. I got shot in the nuts though.
Oh,
so that really sucked. And then the refs laughed at me. So a great environment to be in. It just really makes you want to come back. So, yeah.
But yeah, I actually do want to see it happen out here more just shooting sports like USPSA or 3-gun for airsoft out here in the States, especially in our area, because I do think that would get a lot more of those airsoft gun owners to come and participate, because they're not going to be shooting at each other. That's one thing that I've seen, at least locally, like people that own airsoft guns, especially that they're older, like, I don't want to get shot by it. I know it hurts.
Yeah.
So
I mean, something similar along that vein, I know Project N1, they've been doing, what's it called, the gunfighter or whatever. So it's like this 1v1 tournament.
Yes.
Where you have to shoot through like a window. So both of you guys are on opposite sides of this window in the middle, and you have to shoot each other through the window.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. And then even KWA, right? Like they have their series going on called Fight Night, where it's a competitive one-on-one type of deal.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like it's I think the concept of having just competition.
Yeah.
And just setting up more of a sports environment where you're not shooting each other. I think there would be some really good, I think there can definitely be some room for that. I really wish that people would start doing that. Hey, what if we started doing it?
We do the small shooting competition during the male gang meet.
Yeah, because Echo One has their popper targets.
Yes.
Right, and then we have our computerized targets in the back.
Yep, the gun power targets.
Yeah, which is also nice, but there's some limiting factors to it.
Yeah.
And then but I'm saying if Echo One's on board, because I know again they have Jag or Echo One, they have a ton of those targets.
Actually, one was crazy. The owner of Jag,
he's a competitive shooter.
Yeah, he actually introduced competition shooting in airsoft originally in the States.
Yeah, and he took you to a competitive event too.
He
right?
did.
Yeah.
He did. He actually took me to my first and currently only USPSA shooting competition, where I didn't place last. That was actually I was actually very surprised and happy about that.
Yeah.
But there were even, I think I told you when I was there were people that were on or a part of his team or just friends with him that were airsofters that got into real firearms.
Yeah.
And they had the Gucci's 2011s.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I got into real firearms too. It started with airsoft.
Yeah, valid, same.
So who's that? There's a one airsofter chick lady. What was her name? I think she used to go by Tech City Chick because she that was her home field.
I have no.
What was her name? Crisis. That's what it was. Crisis. But is that you know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
She came to Airsoft Expo 2019 as well.
I need to see. I'm not good with the call signs.
Okay, hold on. Let me. But anyway, as I'm saying, is that she actually? I think she got into competitive, like actual like competitive shooting because of airsoft. Like she started. I think she still airsofts, but her Instagram content now is like mostly her like competitive shooting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I did meet her.
Yeah. So she.
My bad.
Yeah. But yeah, she started out as an airsofter, and now she's like getting into like competitive shooting. But I'm wondering, like even for someone like her, if the competitive shooting scene was more alive as far as the airsoft side is, I wonder if she would actually dive deep into that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would, because for just the thought of getting ready for a competition day, it wasn't as meticulous as it was preparing for actual like gameplay. Like think about like, oh, okay, I gotta bring my plate carrier, gotta bring my battle belt, my BDUs and stuff. When I went to shoot, I was like, okay, cool. I only need my battle belt. The competition that I went to, the owner of JAG provided me a Glock 34. Very Gucci. But if I did think about it, I was like, okay, I need to bring my gun, like ammo, power source, iPro, that's it. And then just compete.
Yeah, I think it'll be way easier to do instead of just playing airsoft, because with airsoft, there's a lot of prep work that gets involved, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like you're preparing for like a day like out in the desert range or something like that, right? Like where you're almost like camping, because they get all your gear, then you have to charge all. Granted, like for both, like you have to get your gun and related accessories all dialed in, and then you have to worry about like food and hydration and all this stuff. So it becomes like a all day kind of affair. And it takes a lot out of you. Like after you're done playing all day, you come back home, you're like, oh, you don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go to like a competitive event, you could just like sit and chill like at the lounge. Yeah. Maybe get some dry fire practice in or something. While you wait, and then 1% of time goes, and with each course of fire, you don't have to wear a ton of gear. Yep. Maybe just bring a belt to carry like extra mags with you, some shooting glasses. You don't need a full set of like face pro because you're not shooting each other. Yep. Right. So like I think it's gonna be a lot easier to do.
Yeah.
Like
I think like admin wise behind the scenes, I think it would be much more streamlined compared to. I mean, we've ran BB Wars and. Like we see what goes into organizing an event like that.
Oh yeah.
Versus a shooting competition. Like even let's say if you have 3 different like courses that are running at the same time. Realistically, you only need 1 guy per course just to hit the timer and watch you count your hits. And then as soon as you're done, next guy comes in, just repeats the process.
But also just imagine, like it's such an easier way to an easier metric to measure your clout. Like for example, like I know like SpeedQB, right, and other related style tournaments out there that do more of the traditional. You play airsoft against each other, and then if you place top on the leaderboard, like you're clouded, which is great, like that works, but it is a very involved process. Yeah. Versus like let's say like we do like these shooting competitions like pretty regularly, and if you keep placing pretty high on the leaderboard, it's a very easy metric to be like, hey, like I keep scoring like top 5 every. Like shooting competition, like that can be also like a source of clout. Us Southern Californians, we the clout is almost as valuable as the dollar. For Southern California, so I know how much that means to y'all young people.
No, that makes sense because like the way that you would realistically like gauge yourself or score yourself is shots hit, shots missed, and time. That's pretty much how real firearms competition shooters do it as well. And that's why there's a nationwide leaderboard. Yeah. Like there are, like you'll see a lot of the regular or the same names be regular like top listing shooters. And that's actually a good way to organize it too.
I mean, now that we think about it, man, like I wonder if we can organize something like that maybe like semi-annually. At like Project M1 or something,
Yo, I think you know what? I'd have to hit up John. I think they'd be down.
Get some like dope prizes from a bunch of companies, Yeah. So there's some good prizes at stake, where if you place a certain amount of place on the leaderboard, you get prizes and stuff.
That would be pretty hot.
And I think it'll definitely be like a way different vibe compared to like an airsoft event, because an airsoft event, like for us as organizers, we're always worried about like, oh man, like Are the players going to be like really like aggressive towards each other?
Yeah.
You know, is there going to be like bad apples in there? Like, oh, call your hits. You're cheating. No, you're cheating. No, you think I'm cheating. No, you're cheating.
Yep.
You know, like, oh, he overshot me. Like those are things that we have a lot of anxiety about.
Oh yes.
You know, we as event organizer, because we want it to go well, but something as linear as like a shooting competition, I think it's going to be way chiller, way more chill.
It's up to your skill and your gun.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone, you know, is going to be chill with each other, you know, because you're not shooting each other. You don't have to worry about cheating.
Yep.
You have an impartial judge that judges the hits, you know. Like there's not much leeway as far as it goes to ruin the event, I guess you would say.
Yeah. Would you guys participate in a shooting competition in Airsoft? Let us know in the chat. I think we should talk about this, because if we could do this, get it set up, that would be pretty sick. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love going out and playing. You know, that's the bread and butter of Airsoft, especially in the US. But I think being able to switch up how you experience Airsoft.
A new flavor.
Exactly.
A new flavor,
exactly.
Of Airsoft.
A Neapolitan, if you will. Yeah, just being able to experience Airsoft in a different way, but competitive. So you can bring your friends along, especially if you're trying to get someone started in Airsoft. I think this is a little bit more accessible.
Oh, absolutely. Like
right?
if you would like, because I know you Airsoft war nerds out there. I am part of that group. All right. Like who have significant others or spouses.
Oh yeah.
And you want to introduce them into your hobby. I know that is a hard thing to do. Believe me, I am. Despite how I look and how I carry myself, I am. I don't want to get demonetized. I'm just a really big nerd. Okay. I'm just really big. I was about to use some adjectives there that I don't know if I can use or say, but yeah, I am an extreme nerd.
Yeah.
You know, so. The stuff that I'm into is like, you know, it's very niche. Even something like Airsoft is pretty niche, you know.
Yep.
And even in Airsoft, I'm like a milsimmer, which is like even more niche.
Yeah.
So, you know, bringing like my significant other into that hobby, you know, is kind of tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of them, especially a lot of the I guess you would say like, yeah, like let's be honest, majority of you guys are dudes watching this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys have like, let's say like a girlfriend or a wife or a fiance or something like that, bringing them to Airsoft, it's like it's kind of a big hurdle to cross, because you know they don't want to get shot because it hurts.
Yep.
You know, like they have like softer, more sensitive skin, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
they have a routine.
Yeah, and for them getting hurt isn't fun, you know, like that they're not like boneheaded like us, you know, where we can laugh about getting like lit up, you know. But like they don't think that way, you know. So in my personal experience with like, you know, with all the relationships I've had, you know, over the years, like a lot of them are very cool and down to go shooting real guns because they're shooting at targets, you know, no one's shooting back at you. But when it comes to Airsoft, they're like, oh, I don't know, because it hurts. Like, you know, they've seen me come home. You know, they see me come home and take my shirt off and big old welts and stuff, and you know, like they don't want that, you know. So if you take them to like a competitive event, you know, we're just shooting targets.
Oh man,
it might be a move.
It's funny. One of the first times I took my fiance to go play, she got shot right in the forehead. She still has the scar.
See, there you go. That's what I'm saying. You know, like
she has played after that though.
Okay.
But like it's actually funny because what you said is accurate. She would rather go shoot real firearms with me than go play Airsoft.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I've gone shooting real guns with you and your fiance. I've never gone airsofting with her. Never.
I think the last time she played was 2016.
Oh dang!
I have a whole loadout for her.
Dang.
I have everything,
dang.
Bro. But you got your girlfriend. You took her to Milsom West.
Yeah, I did take her, but again, it was a different vibe. It wasn't. We weren't milsimming.
Yeah.
We were running a restaurant basically, right? So
with guns.
Yeah, with guns. So it just happened to be, you know, I mean, she did take it like a champ. Like she got lit up.
Oh really?
Yeah, we got raided at night. We got lit up. Yeah, the final day it always devolves into a massive gunfight. So we were like sitting in the back of a truck, just like trying to do like drive-by shootings on everybody. And one time we did that. As soon as we lit someone up, we got shot in every conceivable direction.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it literally felt like I kicked a hornet's nest. It literally felt like I kicked a beehive. Like it was stinging.
Hey,
yeah, but she got lit up. Yeah.
You know what they say?
Yeah.
Mess around. and find out.
Find out. Yeah, that's right. Correct.
You went driving by, shooting at people. What did you expect to happen?
No, it's not. Well, I expected us to be like gone by the time they could react, but the reaction was instant. Which is like
I bet they were just waiting, like when it's about to pop off.
Oh yeah, you know what? You're right. Yeah, but I mean, I'm not upset by that. I'm like, it is what it is.
To be expected.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I mean, did she have fun though?
She did have fun, and she actually wants to do it more, I guess.
You guess?
Which is very interesting. I still have yet to have a direct conversation about that. We'll see. But from what it sounded like, I remember when she came back from No Less, she was saying that she did have fun.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
That's cool. Hey, that's good. Now I think you should just take her out to a regular day of play.
Yeah. I've actually been wanting to do that. It's just it's scheduling right now, just being an adult.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah,
bro.
it's not as it's not as straightforward as it used to be, I guess.
Yeah, I get that. But okay, last thing that you could use airsoft guns for. We talked about the backyard plankers. We talked about the real firearms training. We talked about competitive shooting. Now, something that I'm surprised doesn't happen a lot more, even though it does, is airsoft guns getting used as props for movies or TV shows and stuff. Now, Boaz, you are in the industry.
Yes.
You are professionally trained. You are accredited, and you were telling me a lot of companies still use like blank fire or converted real firearms.
Yes. So
is there a reason for that?
Because it's realistic. So when it comes to using guns in movies, there is like an artistic side to it, right?
Yeah.
Like, guns are loud, and things go bang, and
Yep.
and so it helps actors, when they're shooting a gun on screen, it would help their acting exponentially if the gun went bang and there's a big fireball and shells are coming out. You can smell the gunpowder in the room.
Okay.
Right? Like, it helps. Artistically, but also most action movies or any movies that involve guns in them, majority of the time they go through a big prop house.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a business that just specializes in props, and one of the biggest, especially when it comes to guns, is a company called ISS, Independent Studio Services, in Los Angeles. Okay, and they have a whole armory where they just have a ton of converted, guns that just shoot blanks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So whenever they just say like, hey, we need a gun, like we need guns for these guys, right? Then depending on how big the show is or whatever, you have like the costume and prop department go and figure out what kind of guns you think the good guys would use or the bad guys would use, right? And then they will like consult either with someone from like a procurement department or something, and they'll contact with ISS. Let's say, and then ISS will be like, oh, okay, and like their armors will be like, oh, good guys, let me see what the good guys look like. Oh, okay, like I think that they should use like guns like these, Yeah. And then like, oh, bad guys, oh, like we have some bad guy guns, like something that looks like this, right? Because majority of people in Hollywood, they're not gun people, okay?
Yeah.
Like they're the ones who are voting for gun laws in California that make life hard for us, all right? So they don't care. They don't understand that, oh, I really love the guys they rail on this. Like they don't care about that. They don't even know, It's just the guys at the prop house that do all that, and then they give it out. Yeah. Which is why a lot of times, like certain shows, like I will like the story, but I'll dislike the show overall because the guns are whack. Because the guns suck. All right, like don't even get me started, man. Like for example, okay, Extraction 2, magnifique.
Okay,
it is delightful. The guns were Gucci. Okay,
I didn't watch
Extraction. Right? Extraction 1. Doo-doo, man. I mean, the story was great. The action was great, but absolute garbage.
That's the one with Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth using the Amazon plate carrier. All right, using that Keymod BCM. Who uses a Keymod BCM anymore?
That's hilarious. Right? I mean, at least it was BCM.
Why does BCM even sell the Keymod? I don't know. All right, but that was whack. And he uses like a bare bones like Glock. The second movie, way better. Agency arms, Glock with the armor, the suppressing, the surefire. Using the Daniel Defense M-Lock version, like Mark 18 or whatever it's called. They had like Noveskis. They had all the Gucci. They had all the Gucci stuff, man. Like it was good.
I'm gonna need to watch it.
but the first movie, I mean, the action. Don't get me wrong. Action, cinematography, the story was fantastic.
Yeah.
But just the guns, Actually, no. All right, I will say one thing though. At the end of the movie, the Scar 17 SSR, like the sniper Scar, it does make an appearance, and I was like, oh, hey,
interesting.
Oh, hey, that's pretty good. But outside of that, the guns were whack. So like I said, a lot of times people don't know. But getting back to the main topic, when it comes to airsoft and using movies, it's way more common than you think.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Way more common. Way more common than you think. Okay.
So, what I wanted to say was, because I know that we, Airsoft GI, prior to even me being here, have worked with companies to supply airsoft guns for their shoot. One that's like well known is actually The Walking Dead. Like Airsoft GI actually worked with the
AMC,
studio.
no way.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
To provide airsoft guns. There are plenty of different scenes where Rick is using an M9 with the Maglite flashlight as a suppressor. It says KWA 19 or KWA M9 on it.
Shoo, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
It's hilarious.
I remember there was also a point in time, I don't really follow the show that much, but I remember there were a couple scenes I saw where like Rick was using like an MMP9 with like the Osprey suppressor.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, damn, they're making suppressors past 2008. That's very interesting. But yeah, and then another one was Deadpool 2, with Josh Brolin. What's his name? Cable.
Oh yeah, actually, Isaiah helped make that Vector.
Yeah. They made Cable's gun. Yeah. That was our gun.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, for certain applications like that is a thing. A lot of studios now, because of
what's good, boy?
Sorry, I missed that.
We can't hear you anyway because you're not mic'd up. Yeah. So, a lot of studios, they actually will not allow blank guns to be used.
Oh, really?
On their set, yeah, because of like the potential dangers of it, right? Yeah. Like, for example, right, like the famous Baldwin incident.
Yes.
Or before that, it was Bruce Lee's son.
Oh yeah.
Bruce Lee's son. Yeah, so it's not safe. Yep. Because the barrel itself is not plugged, because they want to see the fireball and they want it to look real. Like it's not very safe, and there's a lot of safety precautions that go into that, right? So a lot of studios now are just saying we don't want blanks at all.
Yeah.
Because we just don't want to deal with the paperwork and the safety and all this stuff. Like, just give us something that is like semi-realistic, where like something like this would come into play, right? Especially with a lot of like low budget stuff. They'll even take like AGs or springers, and then they'll just have the actors mimic the recoil, and they'll add like lighting effects, or they'll do artificial lighting effects like in post, like in CGI basically. It's very easy to do, and even big shows like there was a Netflix show.
He says easy, but easy for them.
Yeah,
like easy with people.
No, compared to adding a muzzle flash and a shell and some smoke flying out. Okay, compared to like you doing like some like Marvel Ant-Man stuff.
Yeah.
It's way easier. Okay, I'm just saying that. Okay, but for example, like on Netflix, there's a show called Money Heist. I still need to watch the later season, but the very first season when it came out, pretty much all the airsoft guns, all the guns used in that show were airsoft guns, because it was taking place in Spain. It was being filmed in Spain.
Oh, okay.
They didn't have real guns. So
it was actually filmed in Spain?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think so, yeah, because it's a Spanish show, but it's like not Spanish like in Latin America Spanish. It's like proper Spanish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They would all speak Spanish with the lisp, because that's part of like the Spanish. It's like the equivalent of like the British having a British accent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
interesting.
Yeah, so they use airsoft guns like primarily for all their prop guns. So for example, there are some scenes, if you watch the Spanish like SWAT team or whatever. I remember distinctly, like they were all squatted up together, with the Amazon plate carrier, like fake cry stuff, like walking around, and they're carrying like their M4s, and I kid you not, it straight up had a G&G logo on the side. A white G&G logo on the side and you know what? For a Spanish audience, I think for the most part, they're none the wiser. Like they wouldn't know.
Yep.
But I knew, all right? Or even like if you guys watch the really hit indie movie series called The Raid Redemption.
Oh.
Yeah, Raid Redemption and The Raid 2, both of those movies, they all use airsoft guns, right? Like the 416s that they use were made by WE. Yep. The AKs, they even use like WE, was it the KEC PDW?
Yep.
Yeah, WE Glocks, or WG series, my bad. WG series pistols, we don't sell them. But Elite Force, we don't sell them. Please don't come after us.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all airsoft because, you know, getting a hold of real firearms, or they even use a JG Bar 10. Yeah.
They sure.
Yeah.
That's mad funny.
Yeah. So, you know, like they use all that because, you know, having a real gun is like it's too hard to get in Indonesia.
Yeah, that's actually a thing. Well, not even just movies though, but there are games that use airsoft as their model. And it's funny because you'll see it either in game or like in some of their promotion artwork and stuff. It's hilarious.
So our whole old head tech, his brother was like a graphic designer.
Yeah.
And at some point, he worked on stuff for Call of Duty, like way back in the day. So like the original Modern Warfare 3, apparently according to our old head tech, they took that the cover photo, they took that at his house.
Really?
Yeah. And if you look closely at the mags, they're airsoft mags.
Yeah.
Even
it's the one where he's holding it like this, right? Because you can see the freaking motor plate.
The motor plate.
It's so good.
Yeah. So I think that M4 was also something that our old head tech had at the time. So his brother just like stole that, got the actor, dressed him up, you know, put the spare M4 mags lying around, you know, face up because they don't know what they're doing. And then and then took the picture. You could totally tell that hey, like these are like airsoft feed lips, right? Even Modern Warfare 2. If you look at like all the gear, like any close up of like mags or anything, like they're all airsoft. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a thing. Like even there's a really famous video of the Last of Us video game where it was them like acting out the final scene or something, like the climatic final scene in the game where it's a cutscene. You know, so they have like the video game actors with like all the ping pong balls, the tracking balls everywhere. Yeah, they're using gas blowback pistols to shoot each other. Yeah.
That's crazy. Hey, you know, I believe it. Because what I was gonna say is we'll see a lot of like independent filmmakers or like smaller companies use airsoft and then add like the muzzle flash and stuff in post, just because they don't have access or the budget to use real firearms. Like we see a lot of like filmmakers on YouTube do that a lot.
Yeah, but and even remember that one time was it Amazon Studios came through?
Oh yes,
our shop, and they're asking us for like airsoft guns, and like they're like, oh yeah, we need guys for like special forces. I think it might have been the terminal list.
Really?
Yeah, they weren't allowed to say because everything's under wraps and under NDA.
Yeah.
And during that time was also when my friends were working on that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with Chris Pratt, and so maybe it was for that, but I don't know why the Amazon guys came through us. Like they have Prime, so I don't know why they didn't order it from Prime. I don't know. Get that Jeff Bezos discount. I don't know. But
clown.
Yeah. But also the final thing we like to touch on is I think I don't know if we talked about earlier, but before the podcast we were mentioning about cosplaying, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Actually using like airsoft as still some. It actually kind of ties into like movie props. It's literally just a prop for a costume. So actually I went to Anime Expo like a month ago or so, and I saw.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah.
Oh shoot, my brother was there too.
What day?
In LA?
Yeah.
Might have been like a Sunday.
I was there Sunday.
No way. You were there with my brother? No way.
That's hilarious. Right. Actually, you know, Terry was there.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, I saw Terry there. That was hilarious. I was like,
he came on his own?
He was with his own. No, he let me know ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he was with his other friends.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was with his Marine buddies.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's funny because before, I would say post COVID or pre-COVID, I'm sorry, there were a lot of restrictions. They didn't allow metal airsoft guns or props to have any metal in them. So even like prop swords or like weapons and stuff, they needed to be made of like foam or
PVC.
Yeah, or like wood. Yeah. It needed to be very flimsy. But this year, like these dudes were rocking hard. I was like, hey, yo, what in the world?
Yeah, wasn't there a viral group of those guys, those cosplayers, as was it Umbrella Corp from Resident Evil? They would go to the convention, like try to act all like tactical and like goony.
There were a few of those guys. Yeah. Actually, there were some guys that I saw this year. It was actually really smart. So Have you ever played Pokemon before? Do you know about Pokemon? Okay, so in Pokemon, there is like the bad guy team called Team Rocket.
Yes.
There are these guys there that dressed up. They kind of played like a special forces unit in Team Rocket.
Interesting.
So they were blacked out, like murdered out, 416s, and on their battle belt they had Pokeballs, like like right next to Magpie.
Yo, they don't need Pokeballs.
No, yeah.
416. What's Pikachu gonna do? All right, what's Pikachu gonna do? All right, like what's Squirtle gonna do?
It was mad creative though. I was like, that's actually really slick.
Honestly, let's bring a 416 to Pokemon Universe. You'll be number one. You'll be number one. You'll be the very best. The best there ever was. Like no one ever was. All you need is a 416, yeah. You go to what was it, at the end of the game, the Elite 8 or whatever.
Elite 4?
I don't get, yeah, you shoot the Pokemon. That's it. You win. All right, like they go like, oh, Blastoids, I choose you.
And then you go to jail.
And then you're like, 416, I choose you. And then game over.
And then you go to jail. You know, when they fight each other, they're only fighting to knock them out. They don't kill each other, right?
Oh, well, that can change. And also, do they, since like Pokemon are animals, do they eat Pokemon like for meat?
I wholeheartedly believe it.
You know, like
I believe it.
Cause not gonna lie, Charizard be looking juicy. All right, Charizard be looking juicy.
What?
No. I'm saying like if you look at like his thigh, like if you cut that up and you grill it up, bro, that'd be juicy.
You are an absolute
juicy
clown.
With that, I'll be having some white wine.
You are a clown. But yes, getting back into using airsoft guns as props. I have seen it a lot where. Actually, you see it a lot more in like Japanese, like airsoft media, where people are cosplaying with airsoft guns, and they just do like really nice photo shoots and artwork and stuff.
Yeah, but also with 3D printing now.
Oh yeah,
right? Like people are starting to make 3D printed components to make like more like I guess. Like sci-fi weapons and stuff to go on top of, let's say, like a run-of-the-mill M4.
Yep.
You know, so that way it doesn't look like a real gun. Now it looks like a sci-fi blaster.
Yep, exactly.
That's also a thing, right?
Yeah, so it's actually like something smaller that could be used for airsoft, but again, just like falling into the props category. Yeah. Something aesthetically pleasing.
We used to sell airsoft guns at those kind of conventions before, right? We used to.
I went to one. I don't know if that's. Airsoft GI has been to different conventions. I know we were at the LA Comic Con when it was at the LA Convention Center, and we were selling airsoft guns. I worked all 4 days there. But I know there were other conventions outside of Cali. I believe there was one in Las Vegas called Level Up Expo.
Oh, Level Up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where it was all video games and stuff.
Why don't we do that anymore? We should do that again. We should do that again.
Maybe. Yeah,
we should do that again.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get to go, but I was working. I had just started working here, and my manager at the time was the one that went. He was like, "Yeah, dude, we set up the booth so damn nice. We set up like a nice shoot house for like people to just pie a corner really quick, snap some targets." I was like, "Yo, that's sick."
Oh, that's the kind of stuff I do at Kid Away.
Yeah. Yeah. But especially like in the like media realm, like we always see action movies with guns, we see video games with guns all the time, and it's just like another thing that airsoft can blend in with, because I think every airsofter plays some type of shooter game, whether it be third person, first person. It should be first person. It's
that pipeline, baby. It's a pipeline. You know, it starts with video games.
Yep.
You know, then you go into now if you're really young, right? It's like video games, and you get into your Nerf phase, right? Then you get into airsoft, and then from airsoft you get into real firearms. It's a pipeline, baby. It's the pipeline.
That's pretty much how it went for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let us know, what else do you think airsoft guns could be useful for? Outside of what we talked about. If you have any ideas or thoughts, let us know in the comments below. Guys, we do have a ton of savings available at airsoftgi.com right now. We have plenty of coupon codes that you can use. Coupon code 20th will save you 10% off of everything. Coupon code upgrade will get you 20% off all upgrade parts. Coupon code gear will get you 20% off of gear. Coupon code 20BD will get you 20% off of accessories, magazines, BBs, green gas, a whole bunch of stuff. And don't forget, every $20 and up you spend at airsoftgi.com will enter you into the shopping spree giveaway.
What's it valued at right now?
This is gonna go up Sunday, so I'm not sure. So it'll either stack or it'll be at the base price. You need to follow us on social media to find out, okay? But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe for more content, and we'll see you guys in the next one, y'all. Later.